Alien planets are often rich in resources that are worth mining and fighting for. In this new board game, Hewns, which is coming to Kickstarter soon, you're going to be taking on the role of a corporate mothership, sending your machines down onto a planet in order to mine and collect these rare resources. In this game, Hewns, you are going to take on the control of these little machines, which are also called Hewns. These kind of make up the core of the game. You're going to be using these to both mine the planet's surface and do battle with other Hewns. Now you see the game set up here in front of me already, and I do want to say this is kind of a massive game. There is a lot going on, a lot of components that I'm not even showing you here. You've got dice and cards and miniatures. This is a deeply strategic, competitive game about upgrading your machines and using them to do battle and race each other to mine the most substract, which is this mysterious resource that is only found on this planet. Now, to start the game, you're going to set it up based on a scenario. I have chosen this scenario, raw substract. You're going to be able to consult both the setup guide and the scenario guide, and it's going to tell you how to set up the game. But in general, it's going to involve placing out these tiles to make up your board. Now, there are two types of tiles. There are nodes and there are ravines. Nodes kind of make up the central tiles, while ravines are the tiles that you could actually go into to mine for this substract. And you're going to see that these also have kind of danger cards on them. You don't know what you're going to find when you go into a ravine. So you have these face down until later in the game. Now there are a variety of different types of these tiles. They're going to come in 3 different sizes: big, medium, and small. And this is going to correlate directly to the size of the hewn. Only small hewns can go into small tunnels, big hewns into big ones, for example. You'll see a size difference, some of the smaller hewns out here on the board versus maybe some of the bigger hewns, like this miniature that I have set aside here. Now, I want to talk about these hewns because this is kind of the central core of the game. On your turn, you're taking actions with all of your hewns across the board, and you're going to have reference cards and your player shield to help tell you how you're going to take those actions. But let me talk about a specific hewn to kind of show you what's going on. So first of all, you see here one of these miniatures. Now this is classified as a medium hewn. It's got a lot of slots where you'll be able to eventually upgrade items. But if I want to take control of this hewn, there is a slot to place your control rod. Now, as long as you have your color control rod in a hewn, it is yours. These hewns can be damaged, they can even be stunned, you can lose control of them, you can take over other players' hewns, so they're going to be trading hands. But for the start of the game, whenever you gain a hewn, it is yours. You'll also see a number of attachment slots at the top where you can put weapons and items. For example, maybe a mining claw, I can slot that in to upgrade my hewn and make him better at mining. In addition, your bigger hewns are going to have hidden storage spaces to hide your substract. So that's right, I said the substract is what you need to win the game. You're going to have to hide it inside your hewns so your opponents don't get it. In addition, that substract is ammunition that they have to use their equipped weapons. So for this little guy, I can actually pop off his head and I can start sliding my substract into these little holes. And this can be done behind my player screen so my opponents don't know what I'm doing. And the reason is because they don't know how strong this particular hewn is. I might have 6 subtract in here, which means I can use 6 different weapons or fire my weapon 6 times, or I might have none, which leaves me kind of vulnerable. So there is definitely a bluffing aspect to this game, as when you're entering into battle, you don't necessarily know what you're going to be doing battle with. Now these hewns will have a variety of special abilities. They can dig, they can fly, they can climb, they can have weapons, do damage, they can be defensive. All of these things are going to be handled through an auction that's going to allow you to get both more hewns and upgrades for these hewns. So like I said, that's kind of a core to the game. You'll want to understand how these hewns work before I talk about the actual game. So this is, like I said, a heavy strategic miniatures game. There is a lot going on here, and I'm going to give you kind of an overview of everything that's happening so you can see how the game works. And I already talked about how to set up the game, but let's talk about how to actually play. At the beginning of every game, you're going to be dealt out a turn order card. This is going to tell you where you start in the hierarchy of turn order. However, you're not going to keep that for very long. But for example, me as the red player, let's say that I start as player number 1 for the beginning of the game. Now the first phase of every game is the new turn phase. You've kind of already done this on turn 1, but in all future turns, you're going to increase the turn marker, and then all of your hewns are going to collect dirty substract. So you're going to collect it in dirty, you're going to have to purify it and turn it into clean substract in order to score points at the end of the game. However, I've already kind of set up the board as you see here. but normally these Hewns would be spread out and you'd be able to gain that subtract every turn. After that, you're going to enter the recovery phase. I said earlier that your Hewns can be damaged, they can be stunned, you can lose control of them. You can also attempt to recover them. Now you're going to be rolling some of the recovery dice, trying to beat your opponent's roll. They're going to roll, you're going to roll against it and see if you can heal yourself. However, there are a large variety of upgrades that are going to increase your ability to heal. There are also these heart cards. Heart cards are special upgrades that certain Hewns can have, and these are going to slot gems and slide into that Hewn in order to give it special abilities. For example, this large guy can take one slotted in right there, and that heart card is going to give him this red gemstone ability for the rest of the game, or at least until it's destroyed. Now there are two types of damage that you could take. There's body damage and mind damage, and these both can be healed during this phase. So once that's done, you're going to move on to the auction phase. Now, I've already set out all the auction cards for this round, but the number of cards you put out is going to be dependent on your scenario. There are 4 different types of cards. You're going to have your small, medium, and large Hewns, and then you're going to have your technology upgrades. And like I said, these tech upgrades are going to give you special abilities, allow you to upgrade either nanobots or socketed upgrades that can improve the utility of your Hewns, give them access to special abilities. In addition, each Hewn is going to have special abilities that are already printed on the card. So you're going to see that already kind of printed here. It's got a variety of icons that are all explained on your player aid. Some of these upgrades are going to increase your health, toughness, defense, attack, give you weapons, allow you to come into the board through secret entrances. So there are a wide variety of things that these can do, but you're going to collect these cards and use them as reference. It's going to show you how you actually upgrade your Hewns over time. Now, in order to bid, each player is going to take a bid box, and this bid box has a little secret tray that's going to slide out, and I can secretly load this with subtract. Again, this subtract that's important for winning the game is also a currency that I have to use to buy upgrades, and you can't really increase your efficiency without buying these upgrades. So the balance is deciding how much of this you want to spend, how much of it you want to use as ammo. But I'm going to slot that back in and then place it on any one of the upgrades that I want. In addition, you can bid on turn order. We're going to collect all these turn order tiles and you're going to place them out, and you could decide to bid on turn order, and you can actually choose which card you want. Now another player can bring their Hewn and they can stack on top of me. We're still going to resolve these in order. Whoever has the most or spent the most subtract is going to win the card. They're the only ones that have to pay. Everyone else that bid gets to actually keep their money. So you're going to have 4 of these that you could potentially place out in front of you, and you could bid and win up to potentially 4 of these cards. Now during this phase, after everything's done, you're going to collect all of your upgrades and your new Hewns. There are 2 types of upgrades: your nano upgrades, which are these little nanobots, and your socket upgrades, which are going to increase your efficiency. If a Hewn is off the board, you can just simply upgrade them as you wish. You just take the new piece and you just place it inside there, and now you have a new Hewn ready to go. If your Hewn is already on the board, you can use a process called banjering, which is basically teleporting your upgrade from your mothership in atmosphere down to the Hewn to increase its abilities while it's out on the field. Once that's done, all players are going to collect all of their bid boxes, and they're going to collect all of the cards that they would have won during that round. All the other cards are taken away. So next round, we're going to have a whole new set of cards to build from. So these are just simply gone for now. Now when it comes to the player order, this is going to be dealt out to each player. Now if nobody bids on this, you're going to assign it based on the last turn. So you're going to just give out these player markers to each player. Then you're going to proceed with the action phase in order. On your turn, you're going to get to take actions with all of your Hewns, and the amount of action points you have to spend is printed inside your player shield. It's going to tell you all the different things you can do with your Hewn. This includes moving, mining, potentially digging more tunnels. You're going to be able to dig tunnels off of the edges of these tunnels. You're going to be able to increase the size of tunnels. So, for example, maybe your larger Hewns can move through what was once a small tunnel. So as you move, you're going to be flipping these cards over and potentially discovering these holes or potentially discovering dangers. So these are going to come out and actually sit on the player board. So you don't exactly know what you're going to get. you might get some of these danger tiles that make an area dangerous to travel through. Now, one of the main actions you're going to take, or the big action you want to take in this game, is to mine. This is how you're going to get that subtract. It can be dangerous. You're going to have to roll the mining dice and some danger die when you do this. You're going to add up all of the different numbers on the mining dice, and you're going to take that much subtract, and you're going to look at the bad thing that happens from your danger die. Now, the key here is that you can decide to mine aggressively. If you do that, you're actually doubling your chance of danger, but you can also roll more dice and get more subtract. And again, the number of dice you roll is going to be based on the hewn you're using. It's going to be based on whatever upgrades you have on that. Some of the heart cards that you can slot in there are going to upgrade that. Anything basically that you can do to increase your Hewns mining ability is going to lead to you rolling more dice and collecting more of that subtract. And again, that subtract can be placed into your Hewns to be used as ammo. It can be spent during the auction, or you can just hold on to it and try to use it to win the game. The other thing that can happen during your turn is you can start an encounter. Now, anytime you end within line of sight of another Hewn, either your own or another player's, you can choose to start an encounter. Now, if you are on the same tile as your own, or you are near your own, you can decide to repair it or transfer that subtract back and forth between them. So that is still considered an encounter. You can also enter into melee combat with somebody that's on the same space as you, or ranged combat with somebody who you have line of sight on. Now, the reason these things are all listed as encounters is because on your turn, when you would be able to initiate an encounter, you simply say, I'm initiating an encounter. And then you start gathering your dice. Now, you know what you're going to do. You might be planning a ranged attack against this Hewn. You might be planning a melee attack against this one. You might be planning to repair your teammate or transfer that subtract. The opponent does not know. So they have to prepare for every eventuality. So they have to decide what they're going to do as well, whether they're going to spend some subtract on their own, which dice they're going to roll. Because once everyone has decided that, that's when you reveal, you show your dice and you say, here's the action I'm taking. For example, I'm taking a melee action against this Hewn, in which case I'd roll all of my melee dice. Again, this pool is going to be built from your Hewn's basic attack, any melee weapons, again, and you're going to see that because each die is a different color. It's going to tell you purple is close counters. So I'm going to be taking the purple dice. Now, purple dice aren't going to do as much damage, for example. Red dice might do more, and then the yellow dice might do the most. Once that's done, I'm going to look at my attack. I'm going to look at their defense. I'm going to see if I've damaged their Hewn. You have these little damage tokens. If I have damaged it, I can place this token on here to show that it is damaged. It's going to have to be repaired. If I'm lucky enough to stun it, I actually get to remove the opponent's control marker completely and replace it with one of these translucent white markers. This mini is now stunned, and during the next recovery phase, we can compete and try to take over that Hewn for our side by replacing that clear control marker with one of our control markers. Now, you're going to do this for all of your Hewns. And like I said, there are a ton of different actions because you're going to have specific upgrades that affect your Hewns in different ways. So some of them might be able to fly, fight different ways, might be able to dig out smaller tunnels, like I said, might be able to mine, might be able to enter and leave the board, mine that subtract for you. There's just a lot of things you can do, more than I can really explain. So you're going to want to look at all of these different cards before you start playing the game so you can become familiar with just all the different things that are possible. Because the way that you can upgrade these Hewns and add on all of these different components means you are creating a completely customizable unit that is going to work and act differently than anybody else's. Now, the action is going to continue that way with each player controlling all of their Hewns in the turn order that you bid on earlier. And the key thing is to keep upgrading, keep collecting your substrate, but be careful because you can play this game in a couple different ways. You can go a highly defensive route. You can keep your Hewns clustered. You could just keep mining, trying to avoid the dangers and trying to earn that subtract. Or you could go a heavily aggressive route and you can get some of the bigger, more aggressive miniatures like this giant cannon that can be further upgraded with more items. Or you'll see some of the other bigger Hewns that are available off to the side here. So you're going to be able to use these to basically do combat with the other players. So you can play any one of these strategies or kind of a mix, but you need to always be on your toes, be ready to perform some defensive actions because somebody is going to come after you. No one's just going to let you sit quietly in a corner collecting subtract. This is a very aggressive, competitive game. And so the game is going to carry on until a few things happen. First of all, it's possible that mines can be depleted after they've been mined enough times. You're going to be ticking down a number and you're going to have these strips that you can put on there that's going to show you how much is left in the mine. It's possible that a mine can become depleted. If 15 of these mines ever become depleted, the game is going to end. That's a very rare case for the starting scenario, but other scenarios might have different ways. Now, the other way a game can end, at least this scenario, is at the end of the third round. So this scenario only has 3 rounds, and then you're going to end the game. Now, this is going to be where you determine who has the most subtract, and that's the winner. So you're not going to be looking at scoring victory points. This is not a point salad style game at all. There is only one way to win, and that is to have the most subtract at the end of the game. So you're going to reveal all the subtract that was hidden in your Hewns, any that was hidden between your player board. Now, I mentioned you can get dirty subtract that can be spent during the game, but that is not going to earn you points. You have to find a way or an ability that can clean it into normal subtract in order to score those points. So that is kind of an overview of how the game of Hewns is played. If you have any questions, please check out their Kickstarter page. They actually have the full rule book available for you to download so you can see all the different nuanced rules and exceptions, all the different ways you could upgrade your Hewns. All of that is in their rule book. So take a look at that. You can also see their scenario guide. It's all available online. So again, take a look at their Kickstarter page. Let me know what you're most excited about. Are you going to go a really aggressive style? You're going to go a little more defensive, focus on the mining, focus on getting a bunch of different abilities. The gameplay here is completely flexible, so I want to hear how you're going to play. So please like, subscribe, follow us, and watch everything we do here at MVM. And thank you, and I'll see you next time.